Well, it's Monday evening, and our first accountability call of 2017. I can hardly control my excitement. And this week we have a lovely, very giggly guest who was a delight to chat with yesterday on Sunday on the Sunday Purge call, and this is her first accountability call. So what I want to do first of all is bring on the lovely marketing consultant, Miss Dani Lane. Are you there, Dani?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Laidler.
How's my little chickadee doing? Are you all right, lovey? That was okay. Let me do that again without the funny accent. What I'm saying, in fact, let me do it with the funny accent, and let's see if you can translate it. This is Northern England. Hey, love, how are you, my little chucky?
I'm doing all right. How are you, mate?
There you go. You got it. Yes, you got it. Fantastic. Oh, you get a variety of accents on this call. Not just English. Yeah. You get Northern English, and you get other English and stuff. And I'll try and throw some other accents in there for you as well. A little bit of Scottish every now and again. Get in my belly. Just throw some in there every now and again for you. Anyway. Yeah. This is supposed to be an accountability call. We should not be having this much of a laugh.
No.
All right, so this is your first accountability call. And I have to say, obviously, I've cheated because I've spoken to you a little bit before the call. But I'm obviously fascinated to hear how you got on. Bearing in mind, you know, prior to doing the Sunday Purge call together, your business wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing. You knew you weren't putting into it what you were supposed to be doing, and you kind of were a little bit worried from the structure standpoint, you know, what should I be doing? But also then the fact that because I kind of gently forced you to, you know, create your written list and score it using the Erica system, some names came to the top that were a little scary. You kind of got thrown in the deep end in pretty much every way in your ambit business for this. So I'm really interested to see how you... And I know you're kind of, you know, you come across as this sweet, lovely, giggly girly, but I know you are super competitive. So I'm fascinated to know
There's
how
layers. I'm like an onion.
Would that be a white onion or a yellow onion?
I say a red onion.
A red onion. Wow, I like it. So, okay, so how did your day go?
It went really well. I had a short work day, so it was pretty easy trying to plan around the people that I was planning to call. There were two people in particular that I wanted to call. It may sound familiar to the people that might be listening that heard the call last night. I spoke to David, the lawyer. That was the first person I called. That call went really well. I listened to the recording of our talk last night to take some more detailed notes onto how to actually word the invite, really based around the respect I had for him being, you know, a friend of the family for so long and actually really providing his professional services and his personal aid to any time that we really needed it. He was kind of the family friend lawyer, basically, growing up. I grew up with his kids as well. So as instructed by you, I use that as like preemptive to getting to the point as to what I was doing and why I was calling him. And he didn't even ask what it was. He just said yes. Like, I didn't leave any paused moments for him to jump in to say, okay, well, what is it? You know, I told him we were in a rush. You know, hey, I really respect you. I want your opinion. You've been such a help to our family for so long, and I'd like you to take a look at this business project that I'm working on. I like the way you worded that, so I totally used it. And it worked really well. We set up a time for this coming Thursday. So that was pretty awesome.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, first of all, the wording business project. I really like that. I'm glad you used it because I don't like the word opportunity. I think that's an old word. I think it's a little bit of a dead language word, and also raises flags for people. It just reeks of small time.
Or part
another
time
of those. Yeah, exactly. And not.
I didn't use that word once.
Right. So that's great. So, and as we know on this call, a success is not whether they join or not. A success for us is whether they look or not. To get the invite set up, and what time on Thursday is it?
4:00.
And are you going to be face to face with them?
No, I think we're going to do it over the phone.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, good deal. Well, fantastic. Gold star. First one for one. Good job. You go, girl.
Now that's a pretty concrete time set in. With the other two people that I got to schedule with, or to a certain point we scheduled, because they're very, very busy, I wanted to not pressure them, I guess, on the quick phone call that I was on. Because I want them to know that I was in a rush, but the second person I got a hold of, his name is Michael, the father of somebody that was my friend throughout high school and elementary school and whatnot, also my neighbor growing up, and so he was somewhat close to my dad in some regards, but I got a hold of him, or he called me back, and I kind of, because he kind of has the same story as David in a similar sense that he's older, he has, a business background. He's in construction, commercial properties. We kind of connected on that as well because he didn't know that I did that for a while. And, I told him in a rush, I try and get a little bit of a background, like, hey, like, how are things going? Because some of these people I'm calling I haven't spoke to in a long time, and they probably want to know why I'm calling or, breaking the ice a little bit. So I asked how things are going. He said business is super, super busy. And so I told him, well, let's, like, in the next 2 weeks, this week and next week, what would be the best day? Would, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday work best for you, and what times? And he said probably closer to the end of the week during the day, but let's reconnect on Wednesday to try and set an exact time. So I think I fell a little bit short on that in getting an exact time and day, but I try not to pressure people because in certain situations, because I feel like that might come across as like desperate or kind of sketchy. So I want to try and work with them if they're trying to work with me.
Interesting approach. Yeah, that's interesting, and that is down to perspective, because I would still go for a time. I don't think pushing for a time is necessarily sketchy. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying in any way that you're wrong in any way. When someone says to me something like, well, let's kind of go towards the end of the week, what I'll say is, let's reconnect on Wednesday to tie down a time. I'll say, well, I'll tell you what, let's put a time in for Thursday at 4:00. Just pencil it in for right now, and then let's confirm that is, I'll give you a call on Wednesday anyway, just to check that that's okay. And if not, we can change it. But at least it's in the calendar. At least there's something in the calendar. It's a little bit postured. It's a little bit ballsy. But what it does is it gets you one step a little closer. It's a little bit more intentional. It shows that you're giving a little bit of posture. You can still do it very nicely, very politely, and say, well, look, let's just get something in the calendar so it's at least there. Otherwise, and you could say, look, otherwise my week will get so full that there won't be any time when we speak on Wednesday. So let's just pencil in 4:00 on Thursday or lunchtime on Friday, or whatever it is, and then I'll contact you again on Wednesday just to confirm if that's right or if we need to move it. So
okay, that's so much better than what I did.
Well, and that's why we're on the call. And that's just a little bit of experience from back in my days when I was, doing a little bit more traditional business and setting up appointments. I just know that if it's not written in the calendar, he can it can kind of disappear. His week will run away from him. So when you call him on Wednesday, he'll be like, well, things have just got super crazy Whereas if he had it penciled in there may be a little bit more chance that he's going to keep that space open for you rather than put another appointment in there. So what you did was fine, and he is super busy, but it's just a little bit of, it does a couple of things. It first of all just puts the time in the calendar, as I said, but secondly it also says a little bit about you. It gives you a little bit of posture. You're young, you're 24, you do have this maturity, but it just subconsciously tells him that you mean business. Kind of a little subtle thing, but I kind of like that. And it's all about this. You'll hear me always talking about posture and intentionality of setting the time. And this does nothing but helps you. As long as you don't do it, as you say, aggressively or upfront or too pushy. It's worded in such a way. Well, let's just pencil a time in for Thursday. Because you know how it is. Our week will run away with us, and we won't put the time aside. And I'll still give you a call on Wednesday, and we'll just confirm that time's right. Again, still can be done nicely, but it just postures well and gets you in the calendar. So good job. So that's awesome. I'm not going to say that's 100% because we haven't got actually the time finally fixed. But that's pretty good as another opportunity to show the plan. So great job on that. So 2 for 2. Yeah. And what I really also liked is we hadn't worked out an invite for Michael. We had done the 2 Davids and Van. So you took the initiative and copied an invite that we put together for one of your other guys and did it for Michael. So good for you. You're a clever girl.
Yeah.
You're such a clever sausage.
Do we have time for the third person?
Oh, hell yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
I want nothing but so you not only got 2 for 2, but there's a third one coming.
Boom. Drop the mic, walk out.
Let me hear all about it. So what happened on the third one? I love it.
Awesome. So this one, this was the other David that I mentioned on the call previously. We had worked together at the marketing company that represented the nonprofit. Super, just really genuine guy, positive attitude, positive energy, very patient person, very driven as a leader amongst a lot of other people that I worked with there. Also like that, but he kind of stuck out to me. So I had called him first and he didn't respond, but I assumed he was probably in the field training somebody. So I texted him, hey, I'm not sure if you have my number saved. This is Dani Lane from yada, yada, yada company. Used to work together before. Give me a call when you have a chance. And that's it. And so he actually gave me a call during dinner tonight. So I took the call and ran outside. And, I told him it was perfect, actually, because I was like, hey, I'm at dinner right now, so I'll try and keep it short and sweet. And I gave him, it was kind of these 3 different people kind of had something in similar or something the same, basically along the lines of, they're older than me. They have more experience. They've had an they've influenced me, and I'd like to learn from them. So I actually kind of approached all 3 of them in a similar manner in that way. And with David, it's the same as well. So I asked him, hey, I know it's been a long time since we worked together, but something that's, I gave him my why and that the hook that it's been working for me in Dallas. And, but I would like some, feedbacks for some people that have, trained me before and, complimented him in the things that I saw before. And if he would please take a look, but I didn't know what his schedule looked like. So if he could give me some times, maybe like Thursday or Friday in the evening, what would work best? And so he said that Friday, Friday at 8:30. But he actually, funny enough, so we penciled that in. I told him I'd put it into the calendar. And then he actually, what was funny is that he kind of took the initiative and stole the words right out of my mouth. He's like, but how about we touch base on Wednesday and just to absolutely make sure that that works for both of us, because I'd love to give you feedback and maybe sit down and look at it in detail. And he has no idea what it is, so I like it. He already seems gung-ho about helping me, and the invites that you told me to do helped perfectly.
I mean, I can't give you a pat on the back any better. I mean, it's just music to my ears. The one thing that's, first of all, wonderful about you is how coachable you are. Thank you so much for, just kind of doing what I tell you to do. Because it works
not always
perfectly.
easy. It's not always easy. I'll tell you that.
Oh, trust me, I can imagine you don't always, do what you're told to do. But in this particular case, that's perfect. There's something very magical about the little guidelines that we have. The being in the hurry protects us from getting dragged into a presentation that we don't want to do on the call. Hey, I'm in a little bit of a hurry. I don't have time to discuss it right now. The talking about your why, helps people listen with their with their heart rather than their ears, warms them up a little bit and they can relate. The hook gives a little bit of excitement, shows you're excited about the whole thing. The takeaway, I'm not sure how much you use that because we weren't necessarily suggesting that these people do that. We can actually we can talk about how we address that in the presentation. But then there was this lovely, gentle, this wonderful compliment in there. You don't know a lot about their whys necessarily. You're a younger person inviting an older person. You offer that compliment, and you want to get with people who've had an influence on your life. What a lovely way to put that. That was really, really nice. I didn't tell you to say that. That you came up with that. So that's awesome. That was just a really nice touch. And I'm thinking now, if I was on the receiving end of that invite from someone of your generation, I would be, how could I ever say no? Of course I would take a look. I would love to take a look. Of course it suits my ego, but at the same time, our generation loves to help. If we're good people, if we're nice people, we do love to help, like you love to help. And so there's something very nice about that whole, those 5 guidelines and being yourself. And you used it absolutely perfectly. And for those of you who are listening on the call, there's absolute proof that if you sit with your accountability partner and put an invite together that follows the 5 guidelines, adds some compliments in there if necessary, if you're inviting up, if you're someone older or to someone more senior than yourself, that it's just it's just that they can't say no. Like, for example, when you were talking about the second David, the young guy, you gave him the invite, you talked about being in a hurry, you talked about why you're doing this thing and you're excited about it, and then you wanted him to take a look because he had such an influence on you. But I wasn't sure what your schedule was. He just beautifully segued straight into that. He's not thinking yes or no, I'm going to see her. He's thinking what day's best to see her. And it just was such a lovely flow. And I just know that I didn't need to be listening to that call to know how wonderfully you would have done that invite. Good for you, sweetheart. That is really, 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 really good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll talk more about this the next Sunday. But how are you feeling about things? How are you feeling? Before we were doing the purge call, obviously you're petrified to go on the purge call, but you're a little bit more, frustrated with yourself for not pushing on the business and not getting that kickstart and stuff. This is your first day. This is, first 3 invites. And the whole structure, the whole accountability. That I'm going to call you tonight, and that you've got to have answers on it. And how are you feeling about the whole kind of structure side of what we're doing?
So far so good. I really like how it is going so far. I think that the slight, and this is just an honest moment for me, but I think I doubt myself before I even get a read on somebody, and not that it's a pitch, but when I, deliver the pitch to somebody, I'm like, my thinking of the odds of them saying yes, no, or going to a negative are higher than they should be. And I think just through grinding it out and actually practicing and training with you, I think over time that's going to fade a little bit, and my confidence level will go up, and I think my success will go up. So I'm less uncomfortable than I was last night, but I can tell that through the calls sometimes I have a lack of confidence in myself, which I shouldn't, because I know that this business works, and that's the reason why I joined it. So I need to remind myself of that every time I call, just to have that extra boost of confidence. But all in all, I feel really, really good.
and that's a great observation. Is lots and lots of people, lacking confidence. With previous alumni on these calls, confidence was one of the big issues, not only for some of the younger folks like yourself, but also for the people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and even 60s. Have these. They go into the call expecting it not to go that well, and how do you manufacture that confidence? When you're first getting started, and the point is you can't. You can speak to your accountability partner. You can feel good about things, but at the end of the day, you still got to then go and pick up the phone and make that call, and that's why it is so massively important to put the right invitation together based on the 5 guidelines and have it written down, because that compensates for the lack of confidence, because the confidence is built into the invite for you. You don't have to have it because the invite has it in there. And what will happen as you now have more success, so the confidence will come. And so this is why this structure is so important, to work with someone to help you build the invite that's the right invite for that particular person, and to have it written down so you don't wander off script, and to keep you on target and stuff. And that's why I'm so adamant about people writing the invite down, because it compensates for that initial lacking in confidence. There'll be a point at which, like when I invite people, 80% of the time, I have zero worry about confidence, because I don't give a crap if they look or not. I'm going to do everything I can to get them to take a look. But if they're going to be a dick about it, excuse my language, I don't care if they look or not. I really don't. Sure. And I know there are ladies listening to this call, and I'm sorry to use that language, but really, I just don't care. If someone's so ignorant that they're not going to take a look at something after a nice, polite invite like that, then screw them. I don't want them in my business anyway. But usually what happens is that that's not the case. But the point is that now when I make my calls, 80% of the time I'm really confident, because I'm not emotionally attached to whether they say yes or not. And so they just say yes, So I would say I have a very high success rate of people looking at the business, because I do exactly what I'm asking you to do, and exactly what I'm asking everybody on the call to do. I follow these 5 same guidelines, and it works a treat. And then the confidence comes from success, but also higher pins. You get a little bit more confident as an RC. You get a little bit more confident as an SC, and as an EC. You just know this thing works so well. So what you've done so perfectly so far is to take the coaching that gives you the confidence within the invite, that does the confidence job for you, and then the confidence will grow alongside that during this week, and obviously in subsequent weeks once we've got our purge call done, or our purge week done. So that's awesome. All right. Well, based on that, now we do need to. The only other thing I'm concerned about here is we don't have any more invites done. So I did ask you yesterday. I don't know if you had time to have a look at the names of the other folks that you need to speak to this week. To have maybe a little look at it, to have a think about how you may possibly want to invite your folks. Did you have a chance to do that? And if so, who would you like to talk about inviting next?
Well, I can improvise, because unfortunately I ended up going to sleep right after the call. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I completely understand. No problem at all.
But I can memorize it from where I'm at right now. I can think of 2 different people.
All right,
that are on that list.
Let's spend 5 minutes, if you don't mind, just having a quick look at that, so you're ready for tomorrow.
Sure.
But this time around, I'll have you kind of give me the idea of how you'd like to invite, and I'll just coach you from the receiving end rather than giving you the invite. How's that?
Okay. Absolutely.
All right, so who would you like to talk to next?
So the two people that I was thinking about on my list next were Hunter. So Hunter, when I was going through EMT paramedic training, my internship was at the Medical Center of Plano, and he is a ER nurse there and was my mentor during my internship. Very energetic person, very outgoing personality, very friendly and, playful, very much like you.
Right.
And just like a really solid dude. When it was time to get to business, that's what he did. And when it was downtime, he knew to soften the mood a little bit and just be funny. And, he knew what to do when the time was right. And I appreciated everything that he did for me. And we kind of kept in touch, but not too much. And I can just imagine, I remember the hours that they were working in that ER. And so, based off, it's been a few years, but I think from what I can remember, if he is still in the same working position, he would probably like some more free time, if I could think of a why.
So how old is Hunter?
I want to say that Hunter is 32 years old.
32. So again, he's a little older than you. So we've got some, and in fact, he was a mentor to you while you were going through your internship. We can kind of we could borrow some of the stuff that we did with the invite yesterday. But let's also look at some potential whys here.
Okay.
So well, in fact, let me throw it back at you. And I don't want to throw you under the bus here. This is a two-way thing. I'm not saying you need to come back with a perfect invite for me, but what type of approach do you think, based on the 5 guidelines, what kind of approach do you think you'd like to do for him?
I think
So go back to your guidelines. So no, that's fine. This is fine. This is okay. This is, again, I don't want to throw you under the bus here. I want to help. I want to help you kind of think through the process. So obviously we're going to be in a hurry. Hey Hunter, I know we haven't spoken to each other for the longest time, and there's 2 alternatives we can do here. By the way, bearing in mind you haven't seen him for a few years. Is he still in Dallas? By the way,
I think he is still in Plano. I think he's still a nurse there.
And is he married, or a girlfriend, or whatever? I guess you may or may not know.
At the time, he had a girlfriend.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm only thinking about that just because one of the approaches you could do is there's certain times when a 2-stage approach. I like a 2-stage approach. This may or may not be relevant for this, but let me coach you on it for right now. And I know Dana really likes this. For people who haven't been in touch with you for quite a long time, what we'll do is we'll just initially arrange a social meet. And the reason why I was asking if he was married or had a girlfriend is because you're a girl asking a guy, you're both younger, I just want to make sure that it stays totally appropriate. But other than that, do you think you guys were friendly enough for you to say, hey, Hunter, I was, thinking about you the other day, we haven't spoken to you. I was just remembering the times you had when you mentored me as an ER nurse, and you just had such an impact on, on what's going on. I'd just love to go, get together just to catch up and grab a cup of coffee sometime. Not even talk about the business, but getting together. Would that be appropriate?
I think it would definitely be appropriate. Very down-to-earth person. That I would actually love to do that. Awesome.
Okay, so that gives us a couple of choices how to approach Hunter. We could do a 2-stage approach, and the first one being that you're going to do 2 approaches to it. The first one is going to get together for a cup of coffee, just say, hey, I was thinking about you the other day, and I haven't spoken to you for the longest time. We had such a great time working together. Let's go grab a coffee sometime. I'd love to catch up. And literally just do that. It's not going to segue into a presentation. It's not going to segue into a sneaky this, a sneaky that, or anything. It is just a get together and a reconnect. And just put your listening ears on to see how he's doing, what's going on, and you'll hear his pain. You'll hear his why. You'll hear what's going on. Maybe he's got married. Maybe he's got kids now. Maybe he's still in the same job, and is frustrated. You never know. There's all sorts of different pains that people can have. And then after that meeting, have a reason, we talk and have another reason to talk about, well, yeah, he's still in the same job and he's just sick of the hours. Then it'll be an easy conversation between you and I to put an invite together for him to say, hey, Hunter, I'm just about to go, back into a meeting with my boss, but, I really enjoyed meeting with you the other day. But as I was leaving, I was thinking about something when you mentioned about, your time being really short right now. We didn't get to talk about it when we were together, but I have a business project right now that I started because I have exactly the same problem. I just have no time, and I just wanted to find a way to get some freedom. So I've been working on a business project that has given me so much more time now. And I don't know if it will be your thing, but we should get together again, and you have a look at what I'm doing. Again, I don't know if it's your cup of tea or not, but bearing in mind the frustration about the time you have right now, I think you should take a look. What are you doing on Friday for like 5 o'clock or after church on Sunday? All right, so that would be kind of like a 2-level approach. So yes, some leaders in Ambit will say, no, that's taking too long. They're more of a numbers game. Get through the numbers. I am not that way. I don't think there's necessarily. Hold on one second. Not necessarily the only way to build this business. I'm not saying that a numbers game is wrong, and I'm not saying that having patience is wrong either. It's just a different way of running the business. I just personally truly believe in the gathering 3 and helping those 3 gather their 3 and helping those 3 gather their 3 and helping them get their 2 customers each. Right? That's the way I believe in building the business. That sometimes someone like Hunter is worth a double hit, where, get together first, get the relationship, get the trust back. Not that there was any lacking in trust, but, so there's that 2-stage approach for him if that makes sense to you. Or to have a direct, a little bit more of a direct invite. Personally, I prefer the 2-level approach. For the direct one, I would say, hey, Hunter, this is Dani, we worked together all that time ago. Dude, how you doing? It's been years. I'm in a little bit of a hurry right now, but I've been meaning to give you a call. I was thinking about you the other day because I remember when we were working together, we were just spending so many hours, doing the EMT work, and I know you spent so many hours doing the nursing deal, and I thought of you because recently in my current job I have the same issue. I have so little time, and I have so much I want to do in this life. This job is just taking up all my time. So I started a business project that's given me all my time back. And I thought about you, that it could be something that maybe would help you get some time back from doing all those hours, as an ER nurse. I don't know what you're doing on Friday afternoon. And I don't know if it's going to be your cup of tea or not, but you came to mind. I thought it'd be a great thing to discuss with you. And hey, it'd be great to catch up anyway. But what are you doing on Friday at 5 o'clock? Or what are you doing after church on Sunday? Whatever. So you could go ahead.
I was just going to say that you prefer that first. I like the first approach.
Yeah, me too. And I know it works really, really well for Dana. Dana Hetter uses it a lot. And yes, it does mean that there's 2 meetings, but he has such a high level of success with it. Bearing in mind, you only need to find 3 good people in your MC code and teach them to do the same thing. You'll be RC, in no time. So I really like that 2-stage approach. So it's your business. I'm coaching you. I'm not telling you how to run your business. I'm coaching you so you can make a decision for your business. If you like the 2-stage approach, then hey, I say do it. Whatever you feel best with.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's the way I'm going to go with him.
Cool. And for those who are listening on the call, that doesn't mean to say necessarily you have to go that way. If you prefer the other, first invite, and then by all means do that. Both are good. There's something, again, magical about these 5 guidelines that we use that guide people towards people wanting to say yes and take a look. So either way works, but that'll be great. Okay, good. So that's good for Hunter. Let's do one more. The call's going on a little bit, and I apologize for that, but there's some really good coaching opportunities in this. So who else would you like to speak to?
So I'd really like to speak to a woman named Anissa. She was waiting tables, but ultimately became the manager at a little Italian place I used to work at with her. I actually went there for dinner tonight, but she wasn't there. So
okay.
But I would really like to speak to her. She's still working there as a manager. Some things that I remember from knowing her a little bit better before is that her dogs are her babies, basically.
Right.
And I just remember listening to her talk about how she's always working. She's an absolute avid worker. Like, she's a very hard worker. That's one of the pluses that I remember. I don't remember if she's married or just has a boyfriend. That's one of the little factoids I can't be completely sure about. But yeah, I think the ability to gain more time freedom is something that could definitely benefit her. Spend more time with her dogs, do more things that she might want to do. It's a very good question. I don't tend to know that one very well.
20s, 30s,
I
40s,
would say
50s.
late 20s, early 30s.
Okay, so let's say 30.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to hand this over to you again.
Okay.
What kind of approach do you think you'd like to do? Again, I'm not asking you to come off the cuff with an invite, but just what type of approach do you think you want to go down?
I think the approach that I would go down, I think with her, I would really like to, one, with the breaking the ice, I like to start with that. Of course, that works just better for me, honestly, to break my own ice. Because I get nervous. But,
sure.
Just kind of a rough draft of like, hey, how you doing? Like, I really hope that you and your dogs are doing well, to kind of let her know that I remember the discussions that we've had previously, and kind of ask her how things are going with Scalini's, if she's getting the time that she wants, and then just remind her, hey, I'm kind of in a rush, but there's something that you came to mind recently. I started something. It's a business project that I've been working on and then I tell her my why, and possibly try and relate it to her. I don't know if that is a good approach. That's one of the things that was kind of, I don't know, dicey. I wanted to run across you. But say, kind of after saying my why, like, this might be something that you might struggle with, getting some time freedom, do some of the things that you want to do during free time. But I'd love to, put it in front of you, see what you think. It may or may not be something that works for you, but you might know somebody that it would work for. So what day would work best for you? Because I don't really know what your schedule looks like. So that would probably be the approach that I go with her.
Okay. That's pretty good. I would give you definitely an 85 out of 100 for that one.
Okay.
I'm not interested in what people think. I have to say, see what you think.
Oh.
I don't like that phrase. I would be saying, if I was going to be saying that type of thing, I'd say, I want you to take a look at what I'm doing to see if it makes sense for you. I don't want to know what you think about my business. I don't care what you think about my business because I'm doing it. But to see if it also makes sense for you is postured, but it's also got a little takeaway in it. There's not too much pressure on there. So also you mentioned about discussing her why and asking how things are going. I would be careful with that. I don't want to get into, basically her, explaining, about the job. I don't want to say, so how are things going? Are you still struggling with time? There's something, because it's a little bit of a weird call anyway for you to just suddenly call and ask her about that. So I might be a little bit more assumptive. So I may go along the lines of, hey, Anissa, this is Dani. We obviously remember how this was how are you doing and how the dogs. And she would say, oh, great. Listen, I'm in a little bit of a hurry right now, but I've been meaning to give you a call because I want to get together sometime in the next few days. And here's why. I know when we were working together, that you are just like constantly working like crazy, and you never seem to have any time. And I have found myself, recently in a similar situation, and it just wasn't acceptable for me. I had to get some more time back, and I've started a new business project that is actually working really, really well for me in the DFW area. And I'm getting so much more of my time back and actually making more money. And I thought of you. Because of the time when we were together and you were constantly working. And this is, to be quite frank, I want you to take a look at what I'm doing, because I think it might be something that would make sense for you. So you can either go to close, on a time there, or you can give the alternative. What I mean by that is saying, I want you to take a look what I'm saying, what I'm doing. So we kind of direct and say, look, I think it may be something that would work for you and actually help you get some time back. And even if not, because this isn't for everybody, you may be able to refer me to certain folks that this would make sense for. What are you doing on Friday, like around 5 o'clock? I know we always used to meet at the Luby's or whatever it was around the corner, and because I'd love to show you what I'm doing. Again, and it's important that you understand this. This may or may not be your thing, but bearing in mind how much time you are working, I thought of you, and I thought, you know what, you should just take a look and see if it makes sense for you too.
Okay. I really like that. So much better.
It sounds a little long-winded, so I want you to go back and listen to the recording and trim it down just a little bit. But for sure, be in a hurry. Remind her that you're remembering how busy she was. You're not asking her if she's still busy. I don't want to know. Yeah. I'm assuming she's still busy, because I guarantee she is. Right. If she's working in a restaurant, she's busy, especially if she's a manager too. So, and you've had the similar situation, so you can join. You're also super busy right now. So you started a business project that's giving you all this time back. Really excited about it. There's a hook. And quite frankly, and it's the reason why I want you to take a look at what we're doing is, I think it may be something that would make sense for you. We were such good friends when we were working together, and as I say, I thought of you when when I was working on what I was doing here, and I'd love you to take a look at what I'm doing. Again, it may or may not be your thing in this, and that's perfectly fine. But hey, it'd be lovely to catch up. Have a look at what I'm doing and see if it makes sense for you. What are you doing on Friday? So again, it's follow the 5 guidelines, listen back to the call, condense it down to a nice, neat invite, give it the little Dani touch that you do to make it yours, and I think that's how I would do that. Does that make sense? Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Cool. All right. Okay. Was there any other questions you had? That's it. Fantastic. You answered every question and more. And more. Let me tell you, I like to under-promise and over-deliver. There you go. All right, my lovely. Well, I'll let you get back to your gambling. And no, thank you. Not gambling. No, don't gamble. I threw you under the bus there, didn't I? Just for those of you who are listening, Dani was telling me she was playing cards before we got started. So I'm sure it was just a nice, friendly game amongst friends. All right, my lovely. Well, thank you so much for getting on the call. It's super late tonight, I know, and I appreciate your patience. Thank you so much for allowing me. I was doing some training earlier on. And I will. Good luck tomorrow. Let's hope for some more success tomorrow. We've got Van. We've still got an invite for, and you've got Hunter and Anissa. So we can have a go at those, and then we'll get a couple more invites done tomorrow. But good luck, and thanks again for being so vulnerable on the call. I really appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for the training. I appreciate it. Hey, anytime, lovely. Have a good night, and I'll chat to you tomorrow. All right. Thank you. Bye, lovely.